Hi, this is Paula Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole because we like to go into topics more deeply. Today we're going to go into a topic that's very close to my heart, and that's the topic of power objects and how power objects affect our consciousness. Many years ago, when I was in the Transcendental Meditation movement, I had heard that Maharishi Mahesh Yogi said that the three most powerful ways to evolve were with herbs, with gems, and with mantras. And since he was giving mantras to people and teaching people how to use mantras, all I knew about were mantras. And so later on, you start to explore more and experiment more, and I think at that time there was a lot of stigma because a lot of the people that were learning TM were learning because of experiences that they'd had with drugs. It was sort of the 60s generation. And before you learned how to meditate, you weren't supposed to take any for 15 days. And I had stopped smoking marijuana and actually hashish for 15 days, well, almost 15 days. And because I thought that it would, if I had a mantra, that it would make my experience more profound, deeper, and stronger. And what happened was, as I learned it, it was so dramatic. When I was watching my body sleep, it was such an unusual experience. And I started asking people, who were more advanced and had more experience, what would happen when you smoked and you meditated? And they said, oh, you can't really meditate for 2 weeks after. It's something about, your mind isn't settled. And I thought, oh my God, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be in cosmic consciousness. So I basically didn't smoke for 30 years. And then I sort of disregarded that, and I always kind of thought that that was sort of a part of evolution that I just really couldn't understand it. And then I started to learn about gemstones. I just sort of liked gemstones, but I never really felt that it affected consciousness. But when I was in India and I was meditating a lot, I think I was at some museums or something, and I was starting to get a buzz and a hit off the stones, so I thought, well, that's great. But when I learned about radioactive stones, and that radioactivity is not dangerous for you and beneficial, because I was producing a documentary for Dr. Jane Goldberg, and my eyesight improved, and I got my eye doctor to verify that 11 years ago he would have given me reading glasses, but today he wouldn't. So I thought, well, that's it for gemstones. So now I'm into medical marijuana, and I'm looking at the research about high concentrations of THC, what's often called hash oil, or what Rick Simpson, who's the discoverer of this, who is a straight kind of guy who probably never smoked a joint in his life, he stumbled upon this. And I'm realizing, as I'm looking at what these cures are like, that the cures actually do still stay consistent with what I learned from Dr. Jane Goldberg, and that is that there's a cancer profile. People who have cancer oftentimes are very sweet and the kind of people that like to keep everything together and not be challenging. For example, I talked to one lady who was very bright and very open, and she wanted to do chemo just to keep her husband happy. And so from the cancer profile point of view, this would be something that one would have to overcome in order to have full healing in their life. So today I'm joined by a panel, and we are going to discuss power objects, because at this very table we had skulls, crystal skulls from, I guess, Polynesia and South America. And I was really struck by watching, as the show was progressing, how these skulls were affecting people and how the conversation was being affected. And so this show is going to be going out on June 22nd and 23rd, and I want to promote a rally that we're going to be having in Albany on the 25th, on Friday. So on Thursday, which would be 22nd, 23rd, 24th, on Thursday the 24th, I want you to call in, because I'm starting my call-in shows. And I'm not only going to be having call-ins here in Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and we'll have the number posted, but we're going to have walk-ins. So you can actually walk down to the studio, which is 537 West 59th, and you can express your opinion in person. So right now I'd like to introduce my august panel. And to my right, I have Alan Steinfeld. Alan,
Hi.
Thanks for joining me.
It's always great to be further down the rabbit hole with you.
It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
We'll talk about your panel right
Yes.
before, and we'll jump into
Thank
it.
you.
And Joe Barton,
How
thank
you
you
doing?
for joining me.
Glad to be here.
Great. And Fabian, you say your last name?
Sarfati.
Safati, thank you for joining me.
I'm glad to be here.
So Alan, why don't you kick off talking about what you did with your panel?
Well, I can talk about also what I like to do with my show, which is present new ideas and how we can change the consciousness of the planet by presenting ancient wisdom. There's that old saying, if you want to learn something new, read an old book. Well, there's so much lost knowledge and there's so much potential the human being has to tap into other senses, other ways of knowing. So if you have an object in your hand, you start to feel the subtleties of a vibration, of sensing, but sensing in a way that's not our normal senses, but it's a feeling sense. So you start to learn how to listen to your body and acknowledge the subtleties of feeling. And this is how we become more human, to acknowledge more of ourselves. So I know everything you're trying to do is about that process of opening up our human potential. At least that's what my focus is on. So when you have a power object, they really contain energy.
Now, how would somebody might say, well, you're just sort of psyching yourself up thinking that you are. How do you know that you really are?
Because I know what I feel. I know I come to a situation completely neutral generally, and then I see, okay, what am I picking up? Without any ideas about anything, what do I actually feel? And you have to kind of drop into yourself to see, is something really going on? It's trusting yourself, trusting your feelings.
Right.
No one's going to tell me my experience isn't true.
Right. Well, we were in the control room when you were doing it, so we were watching. But I remember, Alan knows of what he speaks, because when a master in the south of India gave us a stone cross, I remember him commenting that straight away Alan took the cross and put it right up to his third eye. And
Swami, what did he say?
he was impressed. He knew you knew what to do.
I did.
That's where to pull the energy.
Well, you know, the third eye is where we see and feel higher levels of energy.
Now, you did that intuitively, or were you trained?
No, my training is intuitive.
Now, it wasn't when Ramthik, didn't he open up
No,
your
it was
channels?
me.
But
I would always focus on the third eye just as a way of activating vision. No, actually, no one trained me, but it was a sort of a deep initiation.
Because, you know, Lydia took me to a synagogue that's very, I guess, open.
Yes.
And part of the process, which I think more Orthodox people would find a little unusual, is that at a certain part in the ceremony, they take the Torah and they pass it around to everybody. And at first I thought, well, you know, wow. I wasn't sure because, you know, I was sort of a newcomer there and I'm not Jewish.
You didn't know if you should touch the Torah.
Yeah, you know, because
Did you touch the Torah?
I touched the Torah and everybody was doing that. You know, they were putting their head on it. Did that happen when you were brought up? Because I think you were brought up in a conservative.
Yeah, we were brought up conservative, so we didn't really pass the Torah around.
So
No.
I don't know where this came from, but so when it came to me, I got a buzz.
You got a buzz from the Torah?
I really did. And
Well, it is a power.
And I
object.
told Jane Goldberg about it, and she wants me to take her.
Well,
I don't know if they pass it around.
I think, though, you should tell people what your feeling about power objects are, because you have a couple of, and you're not even wearing them. I'm very upset. Your
Which
Ganesh.
Oh, you know, I left it up at Alexis, the Tesla machine.
Oh, you gave it to him?
No, I didn't give it to him. I just have to go up there and get it.
But anyway, tell us what power
Purple
objects are,
anyway.
because I think you have a good sense of it.
Okay, Alan's right. When I went to India, to the south of India, I was told that to give India a second chance and to learn about the Divine Mother. And I thought, you know, I've already done the Indian thing, I've done the mantra thing, and I had to admit that after 20 years, my experiences were worse. They weren't better. I mean, when I first started, I was out of my body, and it was great. And as time went on, it was more that it was a comfortable place to be. I was hanging out with other people who were doing what I was doing, but I wasn't really growing. So he said, give India another chance. And I remember being with him on the lawn at this ashram, which is now very beautiful, but in those days there was no grass, and it was all just a vision. And I told him what I wanted to do. I think I wanted to cure pedophilia, something like that. And I had other things I wanted to do with my charity, and he said, in order to do that, you need God power, you need angel power, and you need power objects. And I was just kind of horrified. I thought, power objects, because it seemed, how could something that's spiritual involve an object? And he actually kind of, sort of, not exactly frightened me, but I wasn't buying it. I wasn't buying it. But I thought, before I discount it, I should understand what it is. How can you discount something you don't understand? So I spent 4 years really going in and out of the ashram, trying to piece it together. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answers. But how does that also fit in with what Joe is doing with marijuana? I'm interested in...
Well, right now, this rally is about trying to free all the prisoners, you know.
Which rally? Tell people what the rally is.
All right.
Yeah, come in on this, actually. You can zoom in while he's talking also.
All right. We're having a rally up in Albany from 9 o'clock, from noon until 9 at night on the 25th of this month. And we're going to have bands and speakers. Most of the speakers are going to be speaking on freeing marijuana prisoners. Right now, our prisons are full in the land of the free with nonviolent prisoners from the marijuana law. And most of the other drug laws, which definitely are racist laws, and we're trying to get them out. We're trying to get the governor to legalize marijuana in New York, since the legislature, when the legislature decriminalized marijuana, only a small amount, they said scientific evidence clearly shows no significant harm or no harm at all from marijuana use. Yet our jails are full of people from marijuana. It costs $40,000 to $60,000 to put a young kid in jail for marijuana. We could put him through college for that. That's not counting the police investigation and the court time. So we're trying to change the system here and make it a little more humane.
And that was before they even knew that marijuana and cannabis oil in high concentrations cures cancer. So.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
We've turned in. We have a court case going. Well, we had a court case going. It's in the air right now where it's going to go. But we turned in all kinds of medical evidence. There's tons of scientific proof. Don't believe what the government tells you, folks. Marijuana is harmless. In fact, it cures cancer, cures a lot of different diseases. Do the research. Find out for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Look, see the video, Run for the Cure, Rick Simpson. Run from the Cure.
Alan, what did you think about the Run from the Cure? Come back on here, because I talked to your mom. Alan, when you were in high school, your mother, I learned this not from you, but from your mother. You grew a marijuana plant.
Yeah, but I wasn't interested in marijuana per se. I was just interested in the process of growing plants.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, I tried marijuana,
farmer.
but I personally, I mean, if it helps people, I don't think anyone should be in prison for it. Absolutely not. But I don't care for it myself as a tool, as an instrument. Other people do benefit from it.
But if you had cancer, would you give it a shot?
Well, I think anyone should try anything that they want.
I mean,
but
did you see Rick Simpson?
I didn't see Rick Simpson.
You didn't
but
see Run
I want to know what Fabian thinks about
You
it.
didn't see
No,
Run
I
from
didn't
the
see.
Cure?
I saw parts of it. It was good. But what do you think about power objects, marijuana?
I used to work in a group of people who managed 2 health collectives where we sold lots of different marijuana strands. And
Really?
there was a man there who raved a lot about all the healing properties. He was the reception person. He knew every client that came and why they came, and he would follow up and hear their stories. So in their human field, in their understanding, they were embodying alternative healing, and the choice to choose that. Personally, I have no experience with it.
Now, where was this?
In Los Angeles.
Oh, in Los Angeles. So it wasn't in Israel or Amsterdam. No.
It was the California marijuana laws, and I'm not in a position to really speak more about it because I'm so external, just a watcher of what they did.
But you're interested in talisman, right?
Yeah.
Because
I am,
what you're wearing now?
No, I just happen to wear this today and sit with you, but my natural sensitivities lead me to making power objects on my own, to using some that I find or that I buy. I have a lot of opinions about this because I find ways of combining situations with the objects. I'll meet a place where I get inspired, and so I start focusing on energy a certain way. I create a story inside myself. Then I pray on this story. I do prayers for several days. After this, I meet people who are looking to heal in particular ways. So my prayer helps me find the people. Then after I find the people, I look for objects that are linked to these people to help them relinquish what they need to purify. So I start combining the human field with the intention field, and a lot of the different fields that come up in conversation, in placement of objects, in making an altar, for instance, or perhaps cleaning that person's space where they make food, or that person's space where they sleep, or that person's space where they work at their desk. I talk with them about what they're feeling, where they're feeling authentic, where they're feeling stuck. I ask them questions about who they're helping, and then we emerge objects that are going to have a convergence with that. So there's a lot of ways we work it.
Do you do feng shui or vastu, or do you?
I just have my own personal inklings, and I just keep referencing back to the person. And over the course of days and then weeks, the objects that sit in their field help the person return to their intention, or the way that they can count if they're actually interfacing. Like if I build for a person a meditation room, then when I'm there in their home and we work in the meditation together, the room gets used. Then, we have conversations downstream from this, and I ask the person if they're actually entering the room, if they're making things happen in that room, like they could be sitting and preparing the altar, or they could be lighting a candle and not being in even the space at all.
So it's kind of a mindful ritual that you're talking
Very
about.
much so. And then,
it's not about actually rearranging the furniture or moving out old objects and moving in new ones.
Objects are really important. They're how we store meaning and function and time and action. So yeah, I do sometimes help the person shift the patterns of the space.
I noticed, when I learned about the radioactive stones, Jay Gutierrez was sort of citing the American Indians. They're allowed to heal with stones. I think it was plant stones and feathers.
Feathers are awesome.
Remember that with feathers?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And I notice you have a feather in your hair.
But do you make them for healing objects, these objects you make? Are they healing?
Yeah. My specialties are to craft certain objects in the flow. When we're being in the here and now, I come into contact with particular objects, and I combine them together. Then I combine them into arrays of objects. And this is because it clears the space, but it's also so that I can show up. Doing this action, it helps me bring in parts of myself, and then it goes from there. The story crafts itself. It's almost like creating a pet or another, like an individual who's going to come and do the dance with us, so that we can make portals and we can pay attention to various energies, like small energies, bigger energies, energies that are emergent.
So you would say preparing yourself to access the energies?
Yeah.
Like through ritual, Alan, like that?
Through rituals. And they're, like you said earlier, objects work really well when you work with other things as well, like a candle that's bringing in fire, but also the intention, because sometimes we don't want to leave a fire unattended. So
sometimes
we have to come back to light it.
But would you say marijuana is a power object for people?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, very much so.
For sure.
But it depends how it's used. It can be abused, can it?
Yeah, I guess. Marijuana alters your state of consciousness, you know. For people who are not ready to move into a different state of consciousness, it can be a problem. For people that are more on a spiritual trip, it's much easier.
To shift your consciousness with marijuana?
Yes.
So you think marijuana should be legal?
Well, 100%.
And why isn't it?
Well, it's not because of the pharmaceutical companies and petrochemical companies. Back in when they first made it illegal, before Henry Ford was making gas from it for his first cars. He was actually making ethanol, not gas, right? And it was a threat to the oil companies, and also the paper made from it doesn't pollute, and the wood paper pulp is very polluted. And so it was a combination. Anslinger and was with the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, but he was put in there by I can't remember his name. Anyway, he was the head of the Treasury at the time.
But what I think, though, I mean, sorry.
Go ahead.
Is that to combine the use of marijuana with some of the stuff that Fabian is talking about, making it a sacred ritual, will bring it back to its original use by, I think, Native Americans.
Demonized.
And also instead of being just used to party,
right?
You know,
Recreational is not.
I mean, how could we make marijuana something like that?
I think that any of us often encounter that unique split. You know, when are we being super focused, or like a lot of people use certain tools because our lives could be more structured, could be more aware and wise, and yet we have the culture we have, and so we have access to really powerful tools, and sometimes not necessarily a lot of the structures and understandings to create a meta context where we use these tools. And yet here we are, we are using all over the world really awesome plants. Some of them make it into the houses of everybody for whatever uses. But we have friends who, you know, very clearly know that they partner with the marijuana plant because they're going to do something specific, invoke poetry or take time to craft an object out of metal, and you have to really focus, and the more you can be electrical and have multiple consciousnesses there, you can make an object. Like we said earlier, we discussed how if I'm making an object and I want this to be a very powerful interdimensional object, I prepare myself over the course of days. I tell perhaps some certain people that I'm doing this, and then in the moments that I'm touching these things, I'll be singing particular sacred songs.
But how does it become
oftentimes I just make up the song, but I can even get really a lot of leverage and my own learning experience if I rally and I tap in, like hold, you know, the ancestral lines, and I use mantras that have been used by multiple people over eons, and that's where you get to have fun. You're basically seeing, well, I'm an interdimensional creature made up of lots of different densities that dance together. And if I invoke help from really awesome tools that are transcendent or go beyond my frame, then this object's helping me. I'm making it, and I'm holding space. Maybe I'm making this object for a whole community of people, and it's going to go perhaps over the door of their house. So I will ponder the resolution of that group of people with their intentions over a course of a long time, how many contributions they can make to how many people, and I'll power that through the object. So it's like making a funnel to look at many symbols and many possibilities and to generate a real template.
When it's a funnel, what does it do? Funnel through your consciousness and your intention? Because people are asking you to help them do that. For example, I sense Alan here, when you're talking about marijuana without an intention of a spiritual purpose, is something that is almost damaging.
Well, I think anything
I
that
sense
can be
discomfort.
damaging if you overdo it without intention. Alcohol, I mean. So, I mean, it's okay if people want to smoke. There's nothing wrong with that, except it's more powerful to use it for this kind of interdimensional device.
You're recoiling from the word recreational, and I agree.
I'm not recoiling. People can do that. They have the right to do use it however they want. It's not hurting anyone except themselves, perhaps. But if people want to use it for recreational or for prayer or for interdimensionalness, why not?
But I use it more for meditation and for spiritual things. But I have to defend the recreational use for the people that do. 5,000 years, there's never been a death from marijuana. So it doesn't hurt anyone.
Well, don't you think the THC can collect in the liver and do liver damage?
No, it's the opposite.
The opposite. THC attacks cells that are like cancer cells, cells that are off. But healthy cells, it doesn't have any effect on.
So it has no negative effect on the body, marijuana?
Nope.
No.
I think it can get in the way of clear thinking. I know people who smoke who don't. It spaces you out. I mean, it did me.
Yeah. Can you
get saying spaced out? If you're locked into this frame or this reality of physical reality, well then, if you smoke a lot, you might have a little trouble dealing with this. So the average person who wants to really get beyond this level, it should smoke and transcend, go into the spiritual level. You know, it doesn't. It does affect functioning. Like driving on it is not the smartest thing. You know, operating machines on it, but meditating with it or playing music or.
Well, what's the true why do you think? How do you think people should use it? In what circumstances?
I wouldn't begin to tell other people how to use it. Mm-hmm. You know, I use it for spiritual things, for spiritual purposes. Yeah.
So you only smoke once a week or every day?
No, I smoke all the time.
You do?
Yeah.
He wants to be spiritual all the time.
Right. I want to be in touch with my spiritual side.
Well, you don't need to smoke marijuana to be in touch with your spiritual side. Actually, anything you use too much, I think, gets in the way of your natural abilities.
Well, John Klein said, a mantra takes a lifetime to understand, and chances are you won't, so don't. Right. So people have even said mantras can hypnotize you.
But some people do mantras every day for 20, 30 years to try to get to the place that sometimes you could just smoke. Well, I prefer to get to the higher levels. It's better to eat it. You know?
But Shanti, have you got any comments there? The control room.
I want to ask.
I'm really trying to control myself. This is a riot.
What do you think, Shanti?
I know you're going to.
Well, I'm not a daily user by a long shot. But I certainly know people like Joe, and I think that people have to pace themselves into it. There's no reason.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, just turn down the sound there. And
but I mean,
she doesn't want the feedback. How nice.
Well,
I get it.
You got it?
No, you go on. I don't want to take over.
No, you were good, but I do think.
I want you to take over. Alan's having a little.
No, I think it's fine.
I think it's because Ramtha said it takes your joy away. Are you sovereign?
No,
Are you sovereign?
I'm talking to Joe about the fact that if you do it every day, do you feel like you might become addicted to? I mean, it's okay that you do. I don't have a judgment, but for yourself, do you feel like there's?
I know I'm not addicted because there's been many times when I have gone, say 5 or 6 days, even a week, that I haven't done it. I enjoy it, and I like the place it takes me to.
Does that place become too familiar? Like, don't you want to get there without the marijuana? Wouldn't you like to get to that?
I could get to the same place without marijuana.
Well, I think you could.
Okay, so now we are going to take live call-ins and see what you think about it. Now, I realize this is sort of a new thing, me going live again. I'm coming to you here from the Express studio. It looks like the iris is a little hot there. Maybe I can get it down a little bit. And the number where you want to call, if you want to talk about whether you think marijuana is a good thing or whether it's a bad thing, whether it makes you addicted, or whether it actually helps expand your awareness so you can go to the next level and be a better member of society, or whether it makes you withdrawn, more inclined to develop your own thoughts, the heck with the rest of the society, you can call in and express yourself. Or what I'm going to do is just carry on and continue with the show that we shot last Friday with Alan, Joe Barton, and Fabian, talking about power objects and whether marijuana is a power object or not. If you want to call, the number, it's a little confusing because there's a delay here. And if you do call, be sure to turn your television down, otherwise it's going to drive you as crazy as this is driving me, because when I put up the numbers, it's a little bit delayed. You want to call 757-1538 or 757-1541, and we can hear what you have to say about it, because I think it's something, it's really important to keep the discussion going on this, because on one hand, we have this idea of lazy potheads, and on the other hand, we're seeing the evidence coming in. I'm seeing more and more pictures every day about the cancers being healed and how high concentrations of cannabis oil are addressing and destroying the cancer cells and leaving the other cells untouched. And I think this is really worthy of a lot of commentary. Oh, there's one call. Let's see if I can make this work. Caller 1, can you hear me? Hello? Caller 1, can you hear me? I think wait. Hello, caller 1, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello, is Paula?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. This is Harold just saying congratulations on starting your new tape.
Oh, thank you, Harold.
That's okay, I can't.
Your
And
voice
it's
is...
good to see y'all. I'll see you later today.
Okay.
And congratulations on the new daily schedule.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad you called in, Harold, because tonight on the Josh Walensky show, which is at 9:30, and I forgot which channel, it's 56 or 57, Joe Barton is actually going to be on, and in that prime time slot taking calls, because this is such a provocative topic. Do you have any comments, Harold? Do you think marijuana is a good
thing?
thing?
I don't want to take up the time. Let people call. Joe Barton is a genuine hero. He's great. And Alan is, of course. And you are, without doubt. So just congratulations. We'll see you tonight. And let the other people
Okay, and Harold, you're going to be with me in the control room tonight. So
whatever you want, darling. We'll be
yay.
there. And
I'll
keep
see
up
you.
all the good work. Congratulations on the new daily schedule.
Thank you, and happy
Go
solstice.
get him, Tigress. Go get him.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Happy solstice. That's great. Thanks a lot, Harold. So now I know that the telephones work, and I should hit drop call. So this is a new experience to go live again. It's been years. It's really nice to be back in the saddle again, so to speak. I started the show off with Stars from What the Bleep Do We Know? And it was the idea about creating your reality, that there's a relationship between consciousnness and intention and what we have in our world, you know, what we've actually created, and the whole situation develops. How well do you know your thoughts? How well do you know your intentions? Because we are creating our reality all along, whether we like it or not. So if we're not liking it, we need to take a look at our thoughts. And I think that's the argument for a meditative discipline, so that we understand better the nature of the energy that we're putting out through our thoughts. Now, if our thoughts are being influenced, our physiology is being influenced by a strong object, a power object, which could be either in the plant world, or we could be repeating a thought vibration, a mantra, or in the gems world. And that's what I was saying, even radioactivity, radioactive gems, you can actually measure energy emanating from them. And in our society, we've been made very frightened of this energy, radioactivity. But it turns out radiation hormesis is a science. It's been understood for, well, over the past 100 years, 3,000 studies have been done showing that we need radioactivity pretty much like we need a vitamin. But you could also put Geiger counters on diamonds and turquoise and other kinds of gemstones, and you may not pick up any kind of radioactivity on that level, but they still have a vibration, so that the Ayurvedic Jyotishes that's the term for astrology, would say that each gemstone has an influence and similar to how the planets influence us. So they talk about remedial aspects to a birth chart and to particular times that you're going through, so that you can mitigate or influence and support different influences that are already there. So since there's no calls, I think what I'm going to do is carry on with the rest of the show, and also remind you that on the 24th there's going to be a rally up in Albany, and this rally is to support the kind of cannabis legalization that's going to actually empty the prisons. And that's why I think we need to take a look at our economy, that we don't want a labor-based theory of value, but a capital-based theory of value. And in that way, we can let go of the monopoly that is held over cannabis and why it has become illegal, something that's so good if it's used in a beneficial way, particularly a religious way, so that you can control the power of the power object. So now we will carry on.
I'd save a lot of money.
Well, I think you should start that. I think I'm not saying it's bad or wrong. I'm just saying if you do it all the no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. People have the freedom and should have the freedom to do whatever they want. I'm just saying, personally, for you, would it be better if you did it? If you tried to stop for a month, how would you feel? Don't you want to experiment with?
I don't want to stop.
Okay, that's okay. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just curious. Do you know what I'm saying, Fabienne?
It's a way of life.
I have friends who've talked about this with me.
What do you smoke every day too?
I have never smoked, and I tried.
You never smoked?
Half a puff, and I was like, I have nothing to do with it. But that's because I grew up in a whole different context. But the point we were just latching onto is, this woman was telling me her deep, heartfelt journey about the ramping into, okay, I need to probably quit, and then going into, oh, I'm sure I need to quit. And then that whole journey past that. And this is not linked specifically with marijuana. There may be a specific anatomy that occurs because of the qualities of the marijuana. But then it's just us working with energy, learning how to make recipes of energy that are coherent. And my broader comment on any of all of this is, my wish for people is that we would have a lot of different forms of our life where we can really blend with each other. That, and here in New York City, where we're in really privileged conditions, because a lot of people can really broadcast their spheres of influence and touch with other people who have good, competent contributions. What I mean in general is, if I see some of my friends who are sitting at home being lazy because they're not clear-minded, then it's not about the marijuana, it's about the way that our society has linked some of us with a personal flow where how can you manage your life so you still touch in with community, with your own personal secret space, you're making money, you're paying things, and you're still being a really ascendant human who's got a lot of different ranges
so it's not
of action that percolates, like getting the instinct, getting the intuition.
I'm hearing you say it's not the marijuana, it's how you approach it and use it.
That I think the marijuana in the context of other people, and in the context, like if you knew a writer, and you knew a healer, and you were a musician, then that marijuana is playing a really powerful role. It's helping you maybe help the healer, and then come home to your poet friend, and then...
Oh, I just want to say that somebody called and I sort of fumbled the call, so I'll still take calls and pause this.
Back out to, that's the lifestyle that there's a lot of the rainbow people, they really embody that when they sit with the sacred herb and the sacred spaces.
I think in defense of what Alan's saying.
Start the first rainbow gathering.
See, look at this historical
You helped start
nugget.
the first rainbow gathering with Garrick Beck and Joan. You know Garrick and Joni?
There was a Rainbow Family Commune out in Portland, Oregon. We had a commune here in New York City.
Yeah.
Right.
And our commune posted the whole
Hello,
East
is there a
Coast
caller there? Hello?
Hello.
Great, who is it?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello, this is Josh Walensky.
Hey, Josh, I'm so glad that you called.
And I want to say one thing. I want to say, first of all,
we're going to be on Channel 34 tonight.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so we'll be on Channel 34. And, you know, while I was watching you, just before I was watching Joe Barton with your discussion with Christian in your living room, you know, and I was brushing up on all the facts about hemp oil and the cure for cancer and the story of Mr. Simpson in Canada. And I am really very excited about this rally that's coming up very soon.
Yeah, and also, Josh, what's also important are all of the legal implications. That's why I'm saying this is about legalizing cannabis, but legalizing it in such a way that we empty the prisons, because why would we have prisons filled with crimes if there's no victim? How can you say there's a crime if there's been no victim? And even the other extreme, it's been one of the most powerful healers, particularly when you consider about what I call the Holocaust going on in every single cancer ward across the country. So I think that this battle in many ways is going to be fought legally. And that's why on the 28th, there's going to be something at Kingston, which was previously going to be when the trial was, before the plea bargain came along. And he took the plea bargain, which Carl Pearson said was just an unbelievable sweetheart deal, but he actually wants to withdraw his plea because he wants to use this as an opportunity to advance more knowledge about what cannabis is and how we need to free the prisoners. So I'm really looking forward to being in the control room for you, Josh, tonight at 9:30. And you said channel which one?
Yeah, well, what we want to do is dispel the ignorance of the general public. You know, most people put the essence on smoking, and all of this has absolutely nothing to do with smoking.
No, as a matter of fact, you destroy the medicine when you burn it. So it'll be interesting on your prime time slot if people call in. I wonder if somebody was on number 2. I wonder if I can get 2 at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Caller, are you there? Hello?
Yes?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What would you like Manhattan to know? You can hear me and I sort of hear you, but I'm not hearing your questions, so I may have to drop the call. Hello, caller, caller 1? Can you hear me? I haven't been in this Express studio for a while, so I'm not very good at it. Keep calling back if you have some urgent thoughts. And I think this is a kind of topic that stimulates a lot of thoughts and opinions.
If you'd like to make a call.
Okay, I'll drop that call. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited. Harold Channer and I are going to be in the control room tonight. We're going to create shows with Josh Walensky and Joe Barton. We'll probably create a lot of shows that Josh will post in the future. But tonight at 9:30, you can call up and you can talk to Joe himself because it's an amazing story. And I think it's great that Josh has been brushing up with Christian Lorette, who's the producer of Run From the Cure. And that was, this cancer cure keeps popping up, but most of the time those that are making a lot of money off of the cancer cure not being known sort of stomp it down. But the internet came along, and Christian Lorette posted it on YouTube. Well, actually, he posted even just 10 minutes here and there. And now I have it all on my director's account. So if you put in Run From the Cure full version, you can see the full 60 minutes. But I think 1 million or 2 million people have seen it now. But what's even more important, out of all those people that have seen it, many people have gotten access to a pound of pot. Now, a pound is a felony, but a pound is what you need to create enough oil, which you take a tiny amount of, and it's not about getting high, it's about saturating your body with these THC and maybe 70 other cannabinoids. and flushing out the cancer. You can do it over a 3-month period. If you want to make absolutely sure that you don't get high, just go really, really slowly. But if you don't mind getting high, you could take it more quickly. Or if you are really terminal and you're really close to the end, then you really need to ply yourself with it. And what's such a horrible thing about getting high? Everybody survives. Nobody has died. I mean, this is like unbelievably good news. Of course, the bad news is that we have so many people in prison. And that's something that can't be overemphasized. If all of us are not free, then none of us are free. Even if you're using it recreationally, just for party times, just think about it. Somebody can be in jail for 5, 10, 15, even 20 years. They said they gave somebody 20 years for 2 joints. This is what we have in the land of the free. That's why looking at this one simple plant, which we could call a great capital asset, this capital asset should be free to be grown in anybody's house, anybody who has dirt and sun who can do it. And for the Henry Georges, we're all about the land and having access to the land. But of course, what makes a culture more interesting and diverse is like a city community, like what we have here in New York. So I lost a few of those. Oh, let's see if this works. Caller 1, pick up. Hi, can you hear me, caller 1? Hello? Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? You're definitely going to have to turn down your telephone because unlike a few years ago, they've got quite a delay here. So if you want to swear or anything like that and be outrageous, they're going to cut you off anyway. What do you have to say?
Are you single?
You're asking me if I'm single? I wonder if they're going to cut that off. No. Am I single? You mean, do I have a husband?
Yeah, are you single? Are you dating anybody?
You want to know if I'm dating anybody?
I'm sorry?
Hello?
Yeah, you're very beautiful on TV.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna move on now. Now, caller 2. They have.
Yes, I have a comment for Ms. Gloria.
Yes.
Listening now. Okay, I just want to say that I think you're doing a wonderful job with instructing people, educating people about this important subject. And the prisoner situation is very serious.
Talk more.
If people work together, they can change the law. We need to change the law. Change the law to help the people and.
Oh, caller, can you turn down your television and just talk to me on the telephone, because I detect from your accent that you might have a lot of sophistication on this topic. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you a little bit.
Where are you, caller? Caller, where are you from?
Sorry? The communication is very difficult, but you're doing a wonderful job.
I know, it's really hard with the delay.
Some other time to try to help.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Thank you for calling. Bye. What I think we might do, I'm going to drop that call, is turn down your television and just talk to me on the telephone, and we'll ignore the delay. You're going to, I don't know what it is, a 30-second delay. It's to keep the abusive callers away. So if you want to set up a spoof, you're going to have to be really smart to do it. I can't figure out how you're going to do it. But I thought from that caller's accent that he might be from a country that has easier access to the cannabis plant. I want to remind people I'm not a smoker myself, although I'm becoming highly interested in having an experience with the oil. On the psychological level, again, because I think there is a cancer, this doesn't discount the cancer profile. And I'm really heartened by that, and it's getting my interest back again into great thinkers of the past who have been stigmatized, like Tim Leary. And the person who got me to reconsider Tim Leary was Bernie Gavser, who wrote the cover article in Parade magazine in 1994. Should marijuana be legal? And in that he had a quote of Tim Leary where Tim Leary said, it made him so, I think he even used the word disgusted, that young people were sitting around stoned and high listening to the Grateful Dead. And at first you think, well, he's all about having the experience using music and expanding your consciousness. But what he meant was responsibility. Is that caller 1? Okay, let me try this again. Hello, caller 1.
Yeah, hi.
Turn off the volume of your television and only talk to me on the telephone so I can adjust your volume and we can have a nice conversation here.
Yeah, I turned it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your...
I just want to say that I do smoke reefer.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's okay. You know, the thing about smoking, you know, I don't have a judgment about that. I don't have a judgment if you are using it recreational and you party with it. But yeah. my kind of role right now is to say that the term recreation oftentimes can distract people from how powerful the medicinal effect is. And by medicinal, it's not about being a painkiller or making you be kind of mellow about dying. It's about actually reversing the problem that you're having. That's all I meant. And that if you think by smoking a lot you're going to cure your terminal disease, you're completely wrong, because you're burning up the most medicinal aspect of it. It's like burning up, I don't know what Rick Simpson, his shoot from the hip guess was, you're burning up 90% of the medicinal value. Molly Cheshire had a cousin who had brain tumors, and he died of it, and he smoked a lot. But if we had access to this knowledge, you know, Molly was going, oh, this is really too bad. My cousin, he wouldn't have had a problem scoring a pound of pot. You know, he was a white guy. He probably wouldn't have risked going to jail like you would if you're black or Hispanic.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think they should send people away.
No, they shouldn't. And anybody who's smoking it, even recreationally, has kind of a karmic responsibility to free the prisoners. That's kind of what I think. And that's what this rally is about.
That's true.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
You're welcome.
Bye. Okay, let's get caller 2. Can you hear me, caller 2?
Yes, you can be heard.
Oh, great. Can you turn down the TV so make sure there's not a delay and we can talk?
You bet.
So, what do you have to say?
Say it again.
Can you talk to me?
Sure, I can talk to you. Can you talk to me?
Yes. What would you like to say?
I'd like to say hello, Paula. This is Shanti.
Oh, Shanti, God bless you. Well, I really appreciated you jumping in there between Alan and Joe. Wasn't that hilarious? Shanti?
Yes.
Are you listening to the television? If you
I
listen
have muted the television.
If you listen to the television, there's a delay.
Okay. All right, you're on mute.
Okay, good.
Okay. Now, I just wanted to say, you know, I'm working with you tonight, you and Josh, and I think that the program is 7:30.
We're starting 7:30, but Josh doesn't go live until 9:30.
Okay, that's true. That's very true.
So join me and Harold.
And I'll also be joining you at the Albany rally.
Oh, yay. Oh, great. So anybody who wants to come up to Albany, write Rabbit Hole Central at earthlink.net, and we'll see if there's a way to get up there. Because, you know, a lot of people, Shanti, are afraid to come to these rallies. Sometimes the downside of pot smoking is you become paranoid. And if people don't stand up, then the very herb that should be freeing us actually shackles us. You know what I mean?
I do very much know what you mean,
and I think all power objects can do that. You know, people can become addicted to the power from the power objects and forget that they're sovereign within. So.
Thanks for reminding us.
Yeah.
Boy, there's an awful lot of static going on.
Is it hard? You're having a lot of static?
It's not just static. It's all kinds of bizarre.
Maybe we better say goodbye, because I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you. I'll see you tonight, Shanti.
Okay, bye, babe.
Bye. Okay, if anybody else wants to call, I'm still here for a couple of minutes. And again, I want to remind you that legalizing cannabis means nothing unless the prisoners are free. That's the important crucible. If you want to tell whether you're in a good marijuana activist group, check out two things. Are they into the cancer cure, which will necessitate high concentrations, the kind of concentrations that most of the woozy legalization remedies will never allow. They'll actually even, some of them are even increasing the penalties. So if the penalties are going up for high amounts, you know, steer away, get away from that type of legalization cause. We want the cancer cure and we want the prisoners free. And we know that this is a tricky situation because our economy right now, our two growth industries are healthcare and prisons. So if you want real prison reform, you've got to have economic reform. And in order to have economic reform, you need to do what Louis Kelso said was not done. He said that we are only beginning the study of economics. If we can continue the study of economics and really understand why monopoly is bad for everybody. It's even bad for the people who have a whole ton of money, because if you have a whole ton of money, you're the king of the heap. And what a bum heap it is. How satisfying could that be? You want to have a society and be part of a society that includes everybody. And so if it includes everybody, you're going to see that utilizing unutilized capacity is about opening up ownership, capital ownership for everyone else. I had a hilarious conversation this morning with Joe Barton talking about how he got, it wasn't a dishonorable discharge. If you smoke pot in the Navy or the Armed Forces, they used to give you some type of discharge. It wasn't honorable, but it wasn't dishonorable. So finally, Carter realized there were so many people coming back from Vietnam who had these types of not honorable and not dishonorable discharges, that it wouldn't be good. And so his mother filled out all the paperwork, and she goes, just think, it'll help you get a job. And he goes, a job? Who wants a job? Now, why should it be that only people that are smoking cannabis have figured this out, that our access to wealth and our identification with who we are should be something way beyond jobs? I see, I just went out.
I wouldn't begin to tell other people how to use it. Mm-hmm. You know, I use it for spiritual things, for spiritual purposes. Yes.
So you only smoke once a week or every day?
No, I smoke all the time.
You do?
Yeah. He wants to be spiritual all the time.
Right. I want to be in touch with my spiritual side.
Well, you don't need to smoke marijuana to be in touch with your spiritual side. Actually, anything you use too much, I think, gets in the way of your natural abilities.
Well, John Klein said, a mantra takes a lifetime to understand, and chances are you won't, so don't. Right. So people have even said mantras can hypnotize you.
But some people do mantras every day for 20, 30 years.